Welcome to Martini Time. I found this glass. See the monkey? See the monkey well. I thought it ironic. Excuse me. In the path of meditation, yoga, Buddhism, there is a metaphor or analogy to the monkey mind. The monkey mind is a mind that cannot settle. It just jumps from one thing to the next. It's restless. It's actually it's what meditation, the first step in meditation is to settle the monkey mind. Because monkeys just jump around. And the mind that just jumps around can't settle on anything, so awareness cannot develop. Concentration, awareness, focus, gone. Monkey mind just jumping, you see. And I just thought it was funny because when the mind does settle and awareness does bloom, the mind becomes monkey mind again. But this time it's different. Instead of just randomly jumping around from ring to ring, the mind jumps around from dots to dots and connects them into a larger picture. And so a lot of my talks are based on that monkey mind. So today, and Facebook is my cage. I jump around on stuff in Facebook and connect dots. And insight creates larger pictures. Isn't that interesting? So, you hear my wife whistling? She's coming in. So, one of my monkey mind jumped on Newt Gingrich today. Some article on Salon. And I've been writing about it, thinking about Newt Gingrich. And when I came to, he was the Speaker of the House during the Clinton times, because in the 80s, and he marshaled the Republican Party like a Redcoat army. So you were looking at TV, and whenever a Republican was speaking, they all spoke the same thing. They all had talking points. Talking points were sent out, so everybody could speak in unison. Everybody could speak. And you see, when you're looking at media, only Jon Stewart began to reveal this to us. But media is a flow, and we don't see the whole pattern at once. You just see each moment. We don't see the pattern. So Jon Stewart used to do a lot of this with Fox. And he would connect the dots and show a pattern where everybody was saying the same thing. And you would have a whole screen of talking heads, everyone saying the same thing. But we don't notice it because it's spread out, you see. So I think Gingrich invented that, the talking points. So he was able to get his redcoats to march like a phalanx against what? The tribal Democrats, who were all speaking with different voices. So they didn't seem to have any unified thrust, any unity, you see. And this is a lot to a degree. This is breaking, the Redcoats are breaking apart today. But for decades, this was the most powerful political army because it could step in unison. But another thing happened, you see, and that was, remember when Reagan talked about the shining city on the hill? He loved that. The shining city on the hill. This is a metaphor for the Transcendent America. The shining city on the hill is a transcendent, it's a vision. It's like the Holy Grail. It's not real. It's not on the flat land, it's on a hill. And it's shining. It's got a halo around its head, you see. So it's transcendent. And we're all called to that, you see. The call to transcendence. This is the journey of the soul. This is the journey of the hero in Joseph Campbell. And this is the journey and destiny of America. The call to transcendence. To always keep transcending yourself, reinventing yourself. And we have. We're the invention center of the world. That means transcendent. An invention, creative invention, is a transcendent act where you create something that has never existed before. So it's transcendent of experience. Steve Jobs is the greatest example of that. His products, iPad, iPhone, were all transcendent of what currently existed. They didn't exist before, you see. So each product then was a city on the hill. So America, as a living philosophy, is of evolution, is a transcendent society. So that's what evolution is. Evolution is life that transcends itself. That's what evolution is, creativity. Life is creativity. It's not something that creates once in a while. It is creativity. Life is evolution. Life is not something that evolves. It is evolution. It is change, you see. And evolution creates itself out of itself. And it creates unity out of discord. Evolution creates unity out of dissonance. Boom, create a new whole. Peace, understanding, which then breaks into boop, 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 create a new whole. Boom. So this marching of dissonance and greater wholes, dissonance, greater wholes, is the evolution of life. And somehow America, through the wisdom of the Founding Fathers, captured and bottled that in our Constitution, in our institutions, so that we captured evolution, dissonance, creativity, dissonance, creativity, dissonance, creativity. Creativity in government is creative policy that heals or solves the dissonance or contradictions. And nature is and humanity is always creating new problems, new dissonance, new conflicts. So there's always this call to create new unities, new wholes that includes the dissonance out of which it was born. You see? So America is an inclusive force. To include, you see. To include. So what happened when Gingrich took over was that he brought moralism to politics. Now moralism has its place, but it doesn't have its place in the evolution of life, because nature is not moral. The tiger eats the zebra, so you can't say, oh, the tiger is evil because he eats that sweet little zebra. No. That's an application of a morality to nature that doesn't exist. The tiger eats the zebra so the zebra won't produce itself out of existence and eat all the grass. They both know that. The zebra offers itself willingly to the tiger or lion, you see, because nature knows, life knows, that there has to be checks and balances and evolution. So anyway, I don't want to digress here, but so if you notice with Mr. Newt's, whenever he pops up, he is framing the world through a moral lens. And he did that in the Clinton years by framing Clinton as an immoral degenerate. So, and then through connection, association, liberals. So, in this moral framing of politics, the enemy, the liberals, were not morally fit to rule. So suddenly the game of politics, which existed before that, in which the members of Congress belonged to an elite club, like a golf club. They all belonged to this club, and they would compete during the day to get their policy in the hole. But at the end of the day, they would go to the bar and have a drink. That changed. Now it was a game of life and death, and a battle for the soul of America. And the Redcoats, the Republican Party, with its flag of moralism, patriotism, and rightness, you see, marched in lockstep against the fragmented liberals. And then the liberals, you see, it was kind of like a wrestling match. Worldwide wrestling is a morality show. Trump is an expert in that. It's a morality show of good and bad superheroes. Superheroes. Some representing the evil side. They're bad no matter what. And the good guys, you see. Gorgeous George or whatever. And these figures rise and fall. But the morality play stays the same, you see. So, when you apply that to politics, this morality play, then you have the right side, the righteous side, and you have the evil side, the immoral side. So politics begin to be framed as a morality play, but a serious play, you see. It's kind of like if you had a tennis match and you framed it as a morality play, with one side being the righteous sons of God, and the other side being the sons of the devil, you see. Instead of having a tennis racket, you'd pull out a gun and shoot the other guy. You see, you can't afford to lose when the stakes are cosmic, when the stakes are the soul, you see. You can't afford to compromise. You can't compromise with the devil. You can't compromise with evil. You exterminate evil. So the goal then of the Redcoats was to exterminate the other side so they could reign for 1,000 years. You see. I'm not saying everybody fell into this, but this is kind of the overall, I know when I moved here to Blackstone in Southside Virginia in the 80s, and I began to write with the Courier Record and read the editorials of the local newspapers. The Clintons, the liberals, the Clinton/liberals, there was an immorality about it. They were just not politicians. There was something degenerate, something immoral, that they were not fit to be leaders, you see. And then, of course, Obama came in, and there was no immorality about Obama. He was racially unfit. You see, so that kind of like brought two streams together, the puritanical religious morality play war coupled up with the racial war, you see. So these two forces, the religious morality play and the racial play of white nationalism or whiteness, you see, formed a lockstep Republican Party. You see, and this gave birth to all the venom, you see, of the Obama years, where Obama was the Antichrist, with horns and all that, you see. So this is like, and this was Newt Gingrich played a an important part in that, in providing the mechanism for the Republican Party to unite. And he continues today to frame events that happen from a moral standpoint, connecting moral dots. A monkey that connects moral dots, you see. We talked about the monkey mind again. Okay, so the monkey mind is one who, on the gross level, is just a restless mind. It just can't sit on any one thing. It just flits around like a moth. Boop, 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 boop. But then the monkey mind that's either creative or dangerous, we'll put those two. I'll say my monkey mind is creative. But Newt's monkey mind is dangerous. And why is his monkey mind dangerous? Because he has a moral vision of America, a story with him as the righteous banner holder of the moral majority. And so he connects the dots to affirm and prove the truth of the moral view. So he's famous for taking tragedies and saying it was the Democrats' fault. Or it's the liberals degraded society, so this happened, you see. Alex Jones does the same thing. Sandy Hook was, but he does it as a connecting dots to prove a conspiracy, that there is a hidden force, you see. There is a hidden dark force manipulating us, you see. So you connect the dots to prove the dark force. Gingrich was in the open. He connected the dots to prove that the liberals were the dark force. The night, you see. We're the day, they're the night. And then Cole Porter comes in. I've been singing Cole Porter ever since I watched that movie with Cary Grant. Night and day, you are the one. The one with a capital zero. Night and day, the pairs of opposites. Liberal and conservative. Left and right. You are the one. You get the idea? They're pointing to the transcendent one that calls the night and day, the conflict, the tennis match, the game, to create a new America. And that's what we're all longing for. That's what we're, in every which way, whether you're right or left, up or down, in or out, cold or hot, whatever the night and day is, you see, whatever the game is, we're all longing for the city on the hill, the one, you see. But we have to create it. It's not there already. It's not running around. That's what the problem is. Each side says, I am the one. You're not. Get out. Get him out of there. Throw him out. Make a wall. We're the one. We're inside the wall. You're outside. So it's an inclusive, exclusive search for the one that excludes the other, you see. And this is the force that's in the saddle that's riding America, and that we are so tired of, that we're so hungry for the inclusive force. You see, everything, the Gingrich way is to exclude the liberals so that the Republicans are the one, you see. We're the one and we'll lead. But everything comes full cycle. The pendulum swings both ways. So now this pendulum of exclusive, we're the one, you're not, has swung all the way to Trump. And the full election of the Republican Party as the one. We are the one. Finally, we have Congress, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and the presidency. We're the one. And what has happened? It divided into two parts. So it's not the one that was dreamed of. It has split into two contradictory views of the world. and now it's deadlocked, gridlocked. Civil war within the one. The one has split into two. Isn't that ironic? Finally, when we become the one, oh no, we're two again. How are we going to create a one out of that? They're stuck. The right cannot create the one because it has excluded the left, and now it's divided itself. And so the result is absurdity. The result is insanity. Trying to invent a fake one, a fake news, a fake reality that pretends they're unified, that pretends they're the one, that pretends they're governing, you see. Hypocrisy, you see. So what does this mean? Well, it means evolution is still there. You can't deny life. We are life. You can't deny evolution. You can't stop change. You can't stop creativity. You can hold it back. Hold it down. Hold it down. Sit on it. But it's going to, the more you hold it down, the more it's going to come out. When it does come out, it's going to come out with an explosion. So the trick is to let it out slowly in creative spurts, or you hold it down until it comes out all at once, you see. So we're kind of like in that place now, I believe, you know. But the pressure's building, the tension's building, all of this stuff with Trump and the fake news and the dark state and the investigation of Trump. You know, all of this is part of this evolutionary process to break this deadlock apart and create a new America. We don't know what the new America will be, because creativity means you don't know what it's going to be. You don't know what that baby's going to be. You don't know if it's going to be a man or a woman, a girl or a boy, or what kind of life it's going to have. But you create it. And when you create a song like Night and Day, You Are the One, you don't know what that song is going to do. It has a life of its own. It lives, it's been singing off in me for days now. Light and day, you are the one. You know, it's just going on and on and on. And so Cole Porter, he created a living piece of art that has a life of its own, you see. He didn't know what it was going to do. The artist never knows what his creation's going to do. America doesn't know what its creation's going to do. America doesn't know what it's going to do. But it has to create itself anew. That's who we are. We create ourselves out of the incoming elements and ingredients of immigration and new ideas. We're not a closed system. We're an open system. We're open source. We're not closed. We don't live behind walls, you see. We're open source. So the force of America is inclusive, 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 inclusive. Not exclusive, 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 down to one little teeny spot, you see. You see, that's the direction of the exclusive. The one is going to end up by being just a tiny, tiny, tiny little one spot. Because it's excluded everybody. I have a pure spot. It's pure white and Christian. And all the other stuff has been excluded. I've got the one, you see, but it's so tiny. It's a tiny little spot. That's not America, you see. So America is the one that includes all the multicolored, all the different variations of humanity. And it's that mix of dissonance that creates new ideas and a new America, you see. So anyway, thank you, Newt Gingrich, because you have really helped us come to this point where the pressure is building. We're kind of like on a pirate's plank. That's a great metaphor. The pirate's plank is where you're on a plank and you are being pushed forward by a sword to the end of the plank, and you have no idea what's there. Sharks or mermaids? You see. Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. The call of the Holy Grail. Not for wealth, but to heal his father. Called him to the abyss. He read the map, it made no sense. But his intuition said, step out. So he stepped out into the abyss, not knowing if there was a bridge there. There was no bridge. He stepped out into transcendence. He stepped out beyond experience. Experience said there's no bridge. He stepped out. Faith mind. He stepped out in faith. And when he stepped out, a bridge appeared beneath his foot. Now the question is this. Did the bridge exist there before, or did he create it? Did the bridge exist, or did he create it by his step of faith, you see? That's either way. That too is dissonance. So did he create the bridge, or was the bridge there but he couldn't see it? That too is unanswerable. That too is pressure for you to create yourself. Am I created? Do I create the world I live in? Or is the world already created and I just haven't seen it yet? Do I create the world I live in? Or is it already created for me and I just have to figure out where it is by getting somebody's map, and that will tell me where the bridge is, you see? Is the bridge already created and I just have to find it? Or and that would be discover it. Do I discover the bridge, or do I create it by stepping out on faith into death? Do I create my life by stepping into the abyss of not knowing who I am? You see. And this really is the American experiment. We're stepping out into the unknown, not knowing what's there. Like Lewis and Clark, they stepped out into an unknown world, not knowing what was going to be there. You see. But they created America. So we create America and we create ourselves by stepping out into the city, being called by the city on the hill. The city on the hill is calling us to step out. So thank you for dropping in, and I'll see you in the morning at Zen Live. Okay.